Okay, hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Naven Gaming, where today we are reacting to the worst rebrand of all time, Cracker Barrel. So, I'm making this video kind of for two reasons, right? I'm making this video both out of contrivance, and I'm also making this video out of, because I also just want to react to it. Two reasons. But the other reason as to why I'm reacting to this one is because I was originally gonna make an SAO abridged reaction, but because that video ended up turning out to be longer than I was, than it was expecting, I went on a hour-long tirade as I fucking do, um, basically talking about why I think SAO is basically just a flawed masterpiece. It's a flawed masterpiece. It had a flawed potential masterpiece that never really got the right writing chops and narrative thorough working and the necessary polish that it deserved. And I feel like that is the biggest reason why it is so revered yet reviled in equal measure. But otherwise, yes, I am working on an SAO abridged parody reaction video right now, and I'm planning on releasing that on you know what? Maybe what I'll do is that I'll ask you guys, right? Do you want when I release this thing, do you want me to release it on maybe I should make a poll about it too. Do you want me to release it unfiltered, unedited, or do you want, like with the hour-long fucking whole bullshit ass fucking rant and rambling about the whole SAO thing in an unfiltered state with the reactions in mind? Because it's literally just like the first hour. You could just skip all the way to like the 52-minute mark and you would be golden. But at least around there. And you would be fine. You just get straight to the reaction. It's cool. But if you don't want, but if you do want to listen to it, it's there. It's just the first hour of the video. You can just skip it if you want, or you can listen to it if you want, or if you want to listen to a more edited version, please let me know. That's basically what I'm asking. It's like, do you want me to edit it and file it down to where it's more palatable, it's a little less time consuming, get rid of maybe some of the fluff, maybe just maybe just make it short and sweet for y'all? Or do you want me to actually bother to just release it wholesale as is without any of the bullshit, without any of the editing and the jump cuts and the shit that gets to the major cruxes of the point and the matter? Right? Because I'm open for either. But in any case, today we are reacting to the worst rebrand of all time, Cracker Barrel by the Fat Files. So I've reacted to the Fat Electrician and his channel for the longest time now. The Fat Files is something that I have yet to react to. I have yet to react to this particular part of his brand, his channel, and well, his content creation thing. This channel in particular. He seems to... I'm not sure what the Fat Files focus is on. I'm sure he basically made this channel for different reasons. Maybe he wanted to make more of like I guess you could say palatable, random snippets and things that he thought would be interesting to focus on that he couldn't make into like a large, prolonged video explanation and retelling of a particular type of story as to why this thing happened the way that it did or whatever have you. Because sometimes, most times, a lot of stories are just short and sweet and very simple and to the point. This happened because of X and Y reasons, right? But, there's never usually a sprawling saga like the stuff that he tends to focus on his main channel. So, I'm assuming that's what the Fat Files basically documents. So, at least that's what I'm assuming. But anyways, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and ask that you all go and leave a like, subscribe if you haven't, support your boy, support the Fat Electrician. He makes great content. And as far as the Cracker Barrel thing is concerned, I actually feel as for my opinion on the Cracker Barrel situation, I've been watching that thing go down for a bit. I gotta say, I think you could have saw that one coming a mile away the moment you saw its CEO. I mean, you could have seen that one coming from a mile away if you had seen its CEO. The CEO does not inspire a whole lot of confidence, especially if we're talking about, a very, a very, a restaurant chain that is very much aimed at a particular audience that this person doesn't seem to be catering to, or seems to be inclined to want to cater to, right? I mean, everyone talks about the nose ring theory, but I think, right, the glasses theory is also just as valid. But anyways, it's a whole thing. Let's just get into it.
Normally don't do current event dog pile type content, but nobody seems to be pointing out what is incredibly obvious to me, that this company might be pulling off the greatest marketing stunt in the past decade. Today we're talking about Cracker Barrel. If you don't know, they rebranded recently and absolutely everybody hates it. This is not a political war thing where the left likes it and the right doesn't, or the right likes it and...
Because it's a minimalist approach to it, and everybody hates the minimalist shit. People like style. People like a lot of style. We're seeing a lot nowadays that we're losing a lot of the things that made the things that we like so special. These rebrandings, these sort of like re-edits, these sort of like these I hate these things because all it really does is that it basically simplifies it to the point of looking very, very bland, and I hate it. A lot of the personality is just weeded out of the company. And when you really think about it, that is kind of appropriate when you consider that most companies are soulless. All right? It's kind of like wearing, it's kind of like going mask off and just being exactly what you are. You're just a soulless fucking corporation that doesn't actually care about anything else but profit. It seems pretty appropriate to me. But I mean, I wouldn't necessarily want to focus on it. But to each their own, I guess. But yeah, the minimalist approach, though, all jokes aside, I hate that shit. It gets rid of so much of the flavor and the character, the personality of most things, especially when they do it to actual IPs. Like, actual story IP, like, really sacred, like, stories and games and movies, among other things, right? It's awful, right? There used to be so much life and personality behind the logos of some of your favorite titles, and it looks so fucking milquetoast now. Like, I think the one that really comes to mind is the Dragon Age rebrand. It used to have, like, a title that had a lot of character and flair. That's, not just on the concept art and on the, just behind its name and title, but it's also, like, I wouldn't say it had a logo, but definitely the title. The title had a lot of flair and personality to it with each game. Not necessarily building upon it, but just reaffirming its particular brand of gruesome violence and unique form of storytelling. And it's dark, grittier storytelling. But Dragon Age the Veilguard erases all of that for flashy lens flares and stupid graphical effects that nobody cares for. Fantasy graphical effects nobody cares for. It also looks sleeker too, which again plays into the blandness of that fact. I fucking... Yeah, anyways, yeah. The point being, I hate this shit. The shitification of your favorite popular media franchises, restaurants, whatever have you. It needs to stop. This trend needs to die, and die exactly how it lived. Like a bland turd. It's like watching paint dry. I don't know. Anyways, I'm just gonna let him move on.
The left doesn't know. Everybody across the political spectrum has come out and said, we absolutely hate what you've done with this.
Look how they mess with my boy.
Even Newsom said it.
Genuinely might be the most
Apparently.
unifying thing that has happened to the United States of America since 9/11. Okay, do you know how bad you got to fuck up to in 2025 get Donald Trump and Gavin Newsom on the same page? The official DNC Twitter account even said, "We think the new Cracker Barrel branding sucks too." Okay, if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, I'm going to rephrase it a little bit differently so we're all on the same page. Cracker Barrel, aka a restaurant unironically and literally named Cracker Barrel, that has been accused of LGBTQ discrimination and racial discrimination, and when you walk inside is decorated as though it's Minnie's haberdashery from the Quentin Tarantino movie The Hateful Eight, has rebranded and remodeled some of the restaurants, and they fucked it up so bad that even the woke leftists are like, no, the segregated bus stop vibes were better, bring it back. They've literally done such a bad job that it almost feels like it's intentional, and I think it might be, and we're gonna get into it right after a word from our sponsor. This video is brought to you by Supremacy World War III. It is a free online PvP strategy-based game where you get to act out a military in modern day. You can pick a country, or you can play the US battleground, and you can pick your favorite state, which is my favorite way to play, and obviously I'm gonna pick Iowa every single time. I like to mix it up by attacking a different state every time. Sometimes I like to attack cold California, Minnesota. Sometimes I like to attack Nebraska and show them whose corn is better, but this time I'm probably gonna go ahead and attack Wisconsin because let's face it, they don't stand a chance unless it's a drinking competition.
1, we're not babies. And 2, we're not that drunk.
But it gets better because right now for Season 18, they have the Cataclysmic Mutation, which, you know, the only thing that can make World War III more entertaining is the introduction of zombies. So if you want to give it a try, it's free on both PC and mobile, and when you use my link and discount code down below, you're going to unlock an elite bomber that appears to be based off the B1, the Bone. See what they did there? B1, Bone, get it? Anyways, go ahead and check out the game. Let's get back to the video. All right, Cracker Barrel, we're going to start off with a little...
Ay. You know what's funny about this whole... about the fact that both the left and the right hate this change? Is that it makes no sense to me, because if they were... Again, if the left was consistent, right? They would absolutely be loving this shit. They would be loving the fact that another cultural icon would be stamped out and eroded for the purposes of being more family friendly and more accommodating to other demographics, to the point of being a racist and sexist and among other things. But they're not even doing that. They're saying they hate this change too. Which that makes me highly suspect, right? I kind of feel like I agree to a degree that this feels intentional, but you can never really tell with the Democrats, with the politically left, because they're always fucking retarded, all right? You can't predict how dumb people are going to act, all right? Have you guys seen Psyche K? Have you seen The Disastrous Life of Psyche K? These motherfuckers are Nendo to a T. They're unpredictable. They're ugly as fuck half the time. They're just a bunch of fucking fat, overweight neckbeards who will call everybody else fat, overweight neckbeards, pretending and LARPing to be something that they're not. And unlike Nendo, right, they're actually funny and enjoyable to be around or even watch most of the fucking time. Whereas these people are just insufferable as fuck. You just wish they would just shut up and go away. And yet they still exist. They still somehow get views. They still somehow get traction. Don't know why the fuck that is. Don't know who fucking supports them. I guess they're just farming hate content these days, but, I mean, that kind of tracks. But the point is, you know, like, I really don't care for this rebrand, and most people don't. And it's weird that the left doesn't. The fact that the left is very weirdly not okay with this rebrand as well. Either there's something going on here, or maybe that speaks to the volume of just how much personality was weeded out of this otherwise very niche kind of restaurant chain. Like, I've never seen Cracker Barrel. I've never been into a Cracker Barrel before. I've never eaten at a Cracker Barrel, to be fair. You know, like, I know I've heard a joke in a Russian Badger video, I think by Heavenly or Herboku, where they say that all white people spawn from the nearest Cracker Barrel. The Cracker Barrel is the Firelink shrine of white people, which is funny. I thought that was a funny joke. But it's like, I've never personally been in a Cracker Barrel. I don't know what it was like before the rebranding, so I'm not too sure, what is so special about the Cracker Barrel. I know a lot of old folks go there. That's about all I know about it. So, yeah.
History, how the company came to be. Why? Because you got to understand where the company comes from to understand where it's going or where it should be going, right? Makes sense. So, Cracker Barrel was started by a guy by the name of Dan Evans. Dan Evans was a Marine that joined after World War II, went, fought in Korea, came back home, worked a couple of different jobs, and then went to work in his family's oil company, going to gas stations, basically being a salesman for gas to small gas stations. Now, during the same time period, in the couple of decades after World War II, America was building and finishing its interstate highway system. Basically, America saw Germany's Autobahn in World War II and was like, oh, that's a good idea. We're gonna win this war and then steal that idea, which is exactly what we did. Now, the problem at the time, or at least for Rob Evans, was this meant that people were gonna be using these massive interstates to just cut right through the land, and they weren't gonna be taking all the small highways that everybody used before, and this put a lot of smaller gas stations out of business. Rather than just slowly decline and go out of business and fade into nothing, Rob Evans said, okay, we've got this new thing. It's kind of cool. Massive highway, goes really fast. People are traveling further, faster. That's great, but it does have some shortcomings. These massive interstates don't cut right through the middle of towns like these highways did. And people that are traveling for hours on end are still going to need gas. They're still going to need food. And a lot of them are still probably going to want to pick up knickknacks and souvenirs to say, hey, I was in this place, like a shot glass or a magnet or whatever the fuck.
No, Dad, not that, please. Here you go, sport.
So that's what he built. He built the first Cracker Barrel. It was a gas station slash restaurant slash souvenir store, and he slapped it right on the interstate in Lebanon, Tennessee in 1969. And to nobody's surprise, it was outrageously popular. It was the one-stop shop concept. You're driving down the road for 6 hours straight. You've got 4 more hours to go. Oh, look, there's one spot I can stop. I can get gas, dinner, and a souvenir. Perfect. Then I'm going to get back on the road. The entire concept kind of felt like a general store back in the Old West. Like, it doesn't matter what you're looking for. You have to go to the only store in town to get it. And if they don't have it, they'll order it. So that's what he kind of themed it after. He themed it after an old Western general store. And because of that, he decided to name it Cracker Barrel, because back in the Old West, the general stores had barrels that were full of crackers.
Don't do that. What? Why are you winking at me?
From here, the business grew like wildfire, but the interstates were becoming, more and more of a thing. Gas stations were popping up. People were copying the same strategy. So he's like, gas isn't really making us that much money. We're going to drop the gas portion, and we're just going to be a restaurant with this souvenir shop in it, but we're still going to be right on the interstate. And that is how we arrived at the Cracker Barrel that we all know today. It is a Western general store themed restaurant that serves Southern food and has a gift shop up front that is actually secretly evil, but genius at the same time. That little knickknack shop up front is responsible for 20% of Cracker Barrel's overall revenue, and they...
What's so evil about the gift shop? Are we not gonna go into that? Oh, well, whatever. I mean, I don't think I'm ever gonna go to a Cracker Barrel to begin with, but I'll keep that in mind, I guess, if I ever go to one. If I remember. I don't know. I sometimes have a memory of a goldfish. Like, I forget names fairly often enough, so... Yeah.
They made like $3.5 billion last year, meaning they're moving like $700 million worth of knickknacks every single year. I know what you're thinking. How is that even possible? Because if you have a family and you go to Cracker Barrel, that gift shop is like a family-friendly version of the Saw movie.
Gary. What do you want? Oik, what?
You are completely surrounded by armed mousetraps.
There's a 15-minute wait at the restaurant. You now must stand inside of an old-timey toy store for 15 minutes with your small children and not be compelled to buy them a harmonica and a cap gun. Mission fucking impossible, okay? Sorry, I'm trauma dumping. Anyways, now we're in modern times. In 2023, they got a new CEO, Julie.
I mean, that's fair. I wanted a gun that made gun sound effect noises when I was a kid. So, yeah. If there was a chance to buy one, I sure as shit would be like, hey, can I get this? Can I get this? Can I get this?
Messina. Okay, now the CEO that she replaced was more or less shit-canned very politely. They didn't fire her, they accelerated her retirement plan. Okay, whatever, that's fine. They have a new CEO, this Julie Messina person. Is she an inside hire from the company that understands the culture and what makes the company successful? No, of course she isn't. We're gonna bring in somebody else that's an industry expert, and they're gonna know how to fix everything, which never ever works. But you know what? Maybe she's the exception. Okay, what's her background? Oh, she was the head of marketing at Starbucks. Not looking great, okay? You know
Yeah.
what company doesn't need marketing? Starbucks. Have you ever seen a Starbucks commercial? Yeah, me neither. You ever seen a Starbucks ad? No, not really. Starbucks' business model is they're fucking everywhere, and do you want caffeine or not? The end. Being in charge of the head of marketing at Starbucks is like being in charge of selling ass candles to dogs. You can't fuck that job up. On top of that, Starbucks isn't even really trying to sell coffee. They're trying to sell gift cards so they can continue being the world's biggest unregulated bank, which I did an entire video on. We're not going to get into it. After that, she was the president of Taco Bell. Okay, that sounds like it could be pretty good, but I promise you it's not. Okay, Taco Bell is owned by Yum Brands, and Yum Brands is a conglomerate that owns KFC, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut, and that conglomerate is owned by Pepsi. Why does Pepsi own fast food restaurants? Well, because in the 1970s and the 1980s, when Pepsi was trying to become a major household name, they could not compete with Coke because every restaurant in America had Coke machines and nobody wanted fucking Pepsi. So Pepsi went and bought 3 major food chains to force them to have Pepsi inside of the restaurant so they could force feed it to people and convince them that Pepsi was better. Pepsi literally said, we have no reputation and no customer base. We're going to buy 3 entities that have a massive following, and we're going to use that to force feed our product into people.
To be fair, if they had just came out with Cherry Pepsi, that would have solved all their problems. That would have solved all their problems. Alright, I've had Cherry Coke. I've had regular Coke. I've had regular Pepsi. I've had a lot of things. I've had Shastas, alright? Shasta is usually the go-to when you want a nice cold beverage that goes down nice and smoothly during a nice hot summer during the nice hot summer times. I would know, I did this a lot in California. But when it comes to the best cherry cola, Pepsi. Pepsi by far, at least by my own standard, is the best cherry cola I have ever had. That also includes against Shasta, because Shasta Cola is really just a kind of a crappy knockoff of Coca-Cola. But what Shasta has over Coke is that it tastes a little better than Coca-Cola. Not only that, but it's a little sweeter. It's probably just a tad sweeter. It's probably why it tastes better, is that it's got a tad a bit more sweetness to it than Coca-Cola does. Whereas Coca-Cola is kind of more of like a rough, sort of like a caffeinated beverage. This one, you know, like that just kind of tastes stale after a while of drinking it. This fucking thing, like, tastes a little bit sweeter, and you never regret drinking a Shasta Cola. It's probably one of the best things going for Shasta Cola. One of my best recommendations for a Shasta Cola. But granted, I don't know anymore, because I don't drink soft drinks anymore, and it's been so fucking long since I've had a Shasta and a Coca-Cola at any given point in time. I couldn't fucking tell you anymore. So, you know, take what I say with a grain of salt. But I can still tell you with 100% accuracy that there is still no Coca-Cola brand or that does cherry cola better than Pepsi. So if they had just perfected the cherry Pepsi very early on in their branding, they wouldn't have this problem.
In your mouth and just eat it.
God, I hate it.
I don't care whether you hate it. You said you do it.
Which means, ultimately, at the end of the day, all they care about is the restaurants breaking even, maybe. They don't give a shit if the restaurants do good. They just want to sell more Pepsi. If so facto, all of her experience at being an industry expert is by working at a company that's fucking up to something other than selling good food to people, right? Starbucks is trying to be an unregulated bank, and Yum Brands is trying to force feed people Pepsi. There's an ulterior motive. They don't really care how the company does. But Cracker Barrel doesn't have that. The only thing they're up to is strong-arming me into buying a harmonica for my 4-year-old so that I slowly go insane. So she comes in 2003 and is like, you know what we need to do to fix everything with this company that's been functioning just fine for the past fucking 50 years? We should absolutely change everything. We'll do exactly the same thing we did with Taco Bell. We'll take a logo that's awesome and retro and cool, and then we'll make a minimalist version with less colors that everybody fucking hates.
Is that really the new Taco Bell logo? It's probably why that's not something that I see very often.
Because every time somebody looks at a logo of a multi-billion-dollar company, they want to look at it and say to themselves in the back of their head, I wonder how much the graphic designer got paid, because I could have done that shit on Microsoft Paint. And
it's so fucking true! Where is the flair? Where is the style? Where is the character? What the fuck is this? Like, God, I wish I could get paid nearly as much as some people just by simply... It's the same problem of shitting on a canvas and then promoting it as art. to a bunch of fucking aristocrats and a bunch of fucking wealthy people who don't actually know what art is, but like to pretend like they're savants and they know what the fuck they're talking about. Okay, moving on. Moving on.
We'll go inside to the restaurants, we'll strip all the cool shit off the walls, we'll paint everything white like it's a rental property, and then put half of the cool shit back up with little plaques that tell you what it is, so it looks like a museum exhibit. You know, the same exact thing that we did to Taco Bell. Look what they did to my childhood. Taco Bell used to be beautiful, inside and out. It was absolutely fantastic, and now look at it. It's just a giant square blob of...
Actually, I'm gonna have an L take, I'm sure, on this, but I think this is actually an improvement. I think I'm gonna be saying a hot take here. I think this is actually an improvement. I hated the interior design of Taco Bell. That shit was awful. And also, those chairs were fucking annoying. This looks sleeker. It looks nicer. And to top it off, right? The chairs don't look fucking awful either. And they're just simple fucking chairs. You can't go worse or do better than those god-awful fucking chairs. That were basically like they moved around and they swiveled. They were god-awful. I don't know. Maybe it's because the ones in California are just, they have too many people frequenting in and out of the store to where they get a lot of use, and so they're a lot more insufferable and annoying. But I hated those damn chairs, and the interior design did not inspire within me a level of awe, wonder, or some type of, like, you know, this is nice type of, like, feeling. No. This is nice. The other shit we saw, I feel like I just walked into a fucking daycare.
Of minimalist millennial gray bullshit. Modern Taco Bells look like they got designed by a middle-aged white woman wearing Ugg boots who got all of her ideas off of Pinterest. I'm legitimately surprised they haven't changed their slogan from think outside the bun to something stupid like live, laugh, love. Oh wait, fuck, they did that in 2012 because when you go to Taco Bell, you're supposed to live Moss now. I hate it. Oh, I hate it. I don't even know.
He's not the only one. He's not the only one. He's not the only one. Fucking hell.
What that means.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
No, it's not. It
gets the people going.
So, is Cracker Barrel gonna go downhill? Almost certainly. As soon as they announced this remodel and their rebranding, they lost 12% of their market share. 94 million.
Oof. 12%? That's the fucking 5% is awful. 12? Holy shit. 94 million in market value. That's a more reasonable statistic for the ne'er-do-wells and Neanderthals among the people watching this video. But you know, to put it simply, share and stock value is determined very differently, and any significant drop as like a percentage is significant, right? But like EA, when they fucked up with, I think let's go back to the Star Wars Battlefront disaster. I think when that happened, EA suffered like, what was it, like maybe 5, maybe a 3, maybe a 6% drop in stock value. This shit is awful. 12%? Holy crap! That is a massive lowering of the market value. You know what? In fact, I'm going to ask the question. How much stock did EA lose from the Star Wars Battlefront 2 fiasco? How much stock did EA lose from the Star Wars Battlefront 2? How much did it lose? Approximately 3.1 billion in shareholder. Ooh, that's actually worse. But then again, this is a massive company. How much is that in the percentage in shares, which was known as 8.5 month to date in November? Oof. That was 8%, 8.5%. than in value. Jesus. 3.1 billion is terrifying, but that's because this is a AAA video game company. It's one of the big three. $3 billion in stock market value. That's a significant amount for a company like EA. If they were to lose like the equivalent of what Cracker Barrel lost, it probably wouldn't even be 1%. Like 90 million, 94 million wouldn't even probably be 1% to these people. It'd probably be like a 0 point something percent. It's terrifying. This shit is terrifying. This is why AAA companies have such inflated egos, because they have more money than they know what the fuck to do with. But anyways, yeah. Yeah, shares are very different. They're calculated very differently, but Jesus Christ, 12% overall value. Oh my god.
Erased from existence. And so far, the only response that Cracker Barrel has given out to enormous public backlash is to send the CEO onto the news to talk to Michael Strahan, an ex-NFL player that retired when I was in like 8th grade, but somehow still looks way younger than me. And she goes up there and has the balls, or the ovaries, whatever, to look everybody in the face and gaslight.
No, maybe you're technically correct, because the ovaries are shaped as a pair of balls. Technically. At least the area where the egg or the embryo is technically shaped like that. It's like it's almost shaped like a testicle. But I could be misinformed on this. I could be wrong, because it's not like I spend a lot of time looking at the anatomy of most women, except for the one time I actually did it for the purposes of trying to understand what the fuck is wrong with women and why the fuck are they so different, and they treat sex and dating so differently from most men and most other people, and why they're so why each fucking person is so monumentally different from the other. Like, I'm not shitting you when I say this. Women are fucking oddballs. They literally will tell you one thing and then they'll do another thing, and that's just one woman. Trying to piece one woman together is ridiculous. Trying to do this for a whole cacophony of witches is entirely a different story and subject matter. It's like trying to understand how the universe works, how the universe functions, or even who God is, and why God invented the universe, alright? You can't know this shit, because you're not supposed to know this shit. It's the same thing with women. You can't know this shit because you're not supposed to. They don't even know. They don't even know half the time. Because these are creatures that operate on fucking feeling rather than reason and logic. How am I not canceled? I swear to God, how am I not canceled? I have said so many things on this channel that I'm honestly wondering how it is that I'm not canceled. How do I have 75 subscribers? It's unreal.
Us and be like, actually, people love the new design, despite the fact that nobody does.
Honestly, the feedback's been overwhelmingly positive that people like what we're doing. I'll give you another soundbite. The number one question that I got asked, Michael, was, how can I get a remodel? When can I get a remodel? How do I get on the list?
Oh, really?
So the feedback and the buzz is so good, not only from our customers, but from our team members.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit that I have ever heard.
So I'm 90% sure that Cracker Barrel, as we know it now, is gonna die off in the next 5 years. But there's a 10% chance that this is the most brilliant marketing stunt of all time. Okay, hear me out. They've lost $94 million, sure, but that's all stock price bullshit, right? That's not real. It's not a realized loss yet, okay? It's all on paper. It's imaginary. It doesn't exist.
It's never landed. It is no matter. It's not on the elemental chart. It's not fucking real.
In exchange for that 94 million imaginary dollar loss, they've gained hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars of free publicity. When's the last time you heard about Cracker Barrel in the news? Fucking never. Cracker Barrel is the talk of the town right now. Buh! But it's all negative publicity. Buh! Yeah, sure, but haven't you ever heard the phrase, there's no such thing as bad publicity? Okay, they've done such a shit.
It's true. It's true. It's how you handle the publicity that makes you a champion.
Shitty job. It's almost perfectly shitty, okay?
I say there's a lot about content creators. So when I was reacting to royalties here with a Nexanor thing, that shit is true. You know, like, it's not about what gets you canceled. It's about how you handle the cancellation. I only hope that if I ever get canceled for whatever reason, I have the wherewithal and the mental faculties to be able to logically navigate that shit to a point to where I somehow survive it, okay? I'm shooting just to survive a cancellation rather than fucking own it, right? Because cancellations are awful. They are awful. I don't wish that on anyone, right? Just like I don't wish what happened to me during COVID on anyone. But the problem that I have with cancellation and cancel culture in general is that it's all done by a bunch of random people on the internet. All right, it's just people on the internet policing them fucking selves, which tends to work about as well as you can fucking imagine it does. It doesn't work nearly as well, if at all, and I fucking hate it. I despise it for this fact, but we don't have any systems in place that really do anything to help weed out the bad actors among these spaces, among these social media platforms. So what are we supposed to fucking do other than call people out for their stupid bullshit and then watch them get ratioed by several hundreds, if not thousands, upon millions of people? It's like, what else are we supposed to do? Just let this shit fly? No, of course not. We have to actually do something about it. At least the people who care about this thing should do something about it, right? You know, like, if you are very adamant and love and support this particular thing, you should be active in what this thing is about, and you should be willing to support and admonish these people when they do good and when they fuck up. It's not... This should not be a logical fallacy. This should just be a correct thing to do. This should just be a logical step. If you're someone who supports a particular thing, or if you're like a particular thing, whatever it is, you should be about it, right? Anyways, moving on. I said my piece.
This isn't a catastrophe. There's a 10% chance that this is a controlled demolition on purpose. Okay, because here's the kicker. All the news articles are like, Cracker Barrel remodeled. Cool. They don't actually tell you that all Cracker Barrels didn't remodel. Only 30 of the 660 Cracker Barrels got a remodel. And if Cracker Barrel is smart, especially if they did this on purpose, they remodeled the 30 shittiest performing Cracker Barrels that they had that they were probably going to have to close down anyways. So now they're out $94 million on paper, and whatever it costs to remodel 30 Cracker Barrels. $5-10 million, okay? They're out $105 million, 10 of which is real, 94 of which is on paper. In exchange, they've gotten, I don't know, $500 million in free publicity, and now in the other 630 Cracker Barrels all over the country, people are gonna go, oh shit, that Cracker Barrel hasn't been remodeled yet. We should eat there one last time because this is our last chance before they remodel it. All of a sudden, Cracker Barrel has the best year they've ever had. All of a sudden, Cracker Barrel's stock price goes through the roof. Now they're not losing money on paper. They're probably making money on paper, and they've probably made enough to offset the amount they spent remodeling the 30 locations that they were going to close anyways. They close those 30 stores down, and they carry on with business as usual. They change the logo back. They issue some corporate apology like, we've heard your voice, and we respect and value your opinion, and that's why we've decided to bring the old white guy back onto the logo. He's not going to go to the Island of Misfit Toys with Aunt Jemima and the Indian girl from the Land O'Lakes logo and Uncle Ben. No, he's gonna stay on the restaurant where he belongs.
You're goddamn right.
And we're not gonna remodel any more of the restaurants. Fuck America. The end. Okay, and I know what you're thinking. That seems like an awful lot to go through just to have one good year of sales. And I would agree with you, okay? But here is the reason that I'm giving this a 10% possibility. There was never an issue with Cracker Barrel's decor, okay? Nobody went in there and was ever complaining like, oh shit, this Cracker Barrel looks like a fucking Cracker Barrel, okay? You know what you're getting into when you go to Cracker Barrel. Nobody's complaining. If you go back to before this PR nightmare hit the internet, all of the complaints about Cracker Barrel were about the food quality, menu changes, and bad service, okay? Cracker Barrel didn't just remodel 30 locations, they also revitalized the menu across all 660 Cracker Barrels, including bringing back old favorites like Uncle Herschel's favorite. So presumably they fixed the actual issues that Cracker Barrel had, but the problem is with the restaurant, once you go there 2 or 3 times and you don't have a good meal, you're probably just never gonna go there again. So they needed to come up with a way to convince people to come back to Cracker Barrel one last time, to give them one last chance, to give them a good experience, and they could have staged this entire PR nightmare on purpose to do just that. And the added kicker, they get to spin the entire thing like, hey, we're the one company that listens to you guys. We're the one company that didn't sacrifice their legendary, well-known mascot and take him off the brand forever. No, we brought him back because you guys wanted him. We kept the restaurant the same because that's what you guys wanted. Cracker Barrel is an American institution, and we listen to you guys and we give you what you want, and then everybody loves Cracker Barrel and their new awesome menu. But like I said, I don't think they're that smart. I give it a 10% chance that that's actually what's happening, and there's a 90% chance that Cracker Barrel is just circling the drain and will be gone in 5 years. So there's that. Thanks for watching. All right, emergency update. Never really had to do this before, and like I said, that's probably because I don't like covering emerging trendy topics, but I guess here we are. Everything you've seen up until this point was filmed on the 24th, and it is now the 26th at approximately 7 o'clock Central Time, and I've just been informed via Twitter or X, whatever the fuck you want to call it, that Cracker Barrel has issued their corporate apology, and they're going to be keeping their original logo. Because of this, I will now be updating my prediction. There is no longer a 10% chance that this is an intentional marketing ploy. There is now a 50-50 chance that this is intentional. They're doing it on purpose, and if they are, it's absolutely genius, and if they're not, it's the worst idea I've ever seen in my entire life. Anyways, thanks for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch over at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang out.
I don't know.
If I'm right about this, I will, for the rest of my life, claim that somebody at Cracker Barrel headquarters saw my video, stole my idea, and saved the company forever. Probably not the truth, but that's what I'm gonna roll with.
I mean, I would fucking do that. I would fucking do that. Absolutely.
Oh, and don't forget to go check out World War III Supremacy. Use my link and code down below to unlock all the free stuff. Thanks for watching.
Anyways, that was the worst rebrand of all time.
Very often, but
okay, let's went to the next one that I had linked up because it's still on the watch later playlist. Anyways, I gotta say,
I normally don't do current event dog pile type content.
I'm starting to see a trend here. Anyways, well pattern. But yeah, that was the worst rebrand of all time. Cracker Barrel by the Fat Files, the Fat Electrician himself. I have to say, I'm not sure if I really subscribe to this theory, but I definitely like the theory. I think that he gives them way too much credit. I think these people are just fucking stupid, and they just did this thinking it was going to work, because, of course they do, because, you know, it's just like California education. You fail upwards in California, when it comes to companies. But it's... Anyways, it's a thing. It's a fucking thing, to be sure. Like, I feel like once this, you know, like, this whole rebrand thing, I mean, it would be nice to think that maybe that was the intention. Maybe it was just to ignite a bit more life into the company and bring more people to want to go and eat and shop at their local Cracker Barrels, but I don't think that's at all the case. I think they just did it because they thought this was an actually good idea, and were shocked and in awe that it wasn't a good idea. Especially when we're talking about, like, you know, the people in charge. You know, this person, from what I understand, from what people have been saying, this person has had a failed history of fucking over multiple companies. So, you know, if this rebranding idea that he is promoting is true, that's a level of scheming that I don't think anyone would have saw coming from this particular CEO. But you know what? I'll give them credit if they actually went through and planned this and did it entirely intentionally. Like, if the documents ever surface about their ideas and their sentiments around this rebranding ever get published or ever make it into the public limelight, that would certainly paint an interesting picture. It certainly give a lot more of, like, credibility to these individuals, but I'm not gonna... I don't think that's ever gonna be a thing. I don't think it's gonna be a thing. I don't think it's ever gonna be a thing, not by a long shot. Otherwise, though, yeah. I'm expecting this person is just going to go down the road of most CEOs, right? They go in, they fuck up a company, and then they leave with a golden parachute, and then they go on to go fuck up another company, and they continue to do their fucked up, fucky ways until eventually, you know, all these companies and, you know, brands eventually blacklist them. Or they just keep doing it. Because these companies and... most companies are just fucking stupid. Anyways, point being... I hate this shit. I hate this shit all the time. I don't understand why they did it. I don't really know what the reason was behind it. I don't know if there was a strategy behind the decision to minimalize and also completely blandinize the entirety, if that's even a word, of Cracker Barrel. But what I will say is that depending on their reasons for it, it's either, yeah, I agree with the fat electrician, is either the dumbest or a really genius strategy to want to do this. But it's really going to be up to them on how they handle it. That's going to prove the validity of the genius behind this rather absurd change in their rebranding. And yeah, time is going to tell whether or not this theory, like, sticks or if it floats like a dead rotting corpse. But yeah, otherwise, I'm going to cut it there. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye-bye. Oh yeah, and before I go, because I didn't mention it, I almost forgot to mention it. I won't be streaming it today, which is Sunday. Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater Delta. I will be streaming on Tuesday. Hope to see you all then. Not sure when I'm going to do it. I'll probably do it at 2 o'clock. Probably do it at 9 like I usually do. But more likely than not, it's going to be 9 o'clock. But hope to see you all then. Bye-bye.